Hi, Scottsdale moms. I am Kate Eschbach, and I'm so glad that you are tuning in for a special interview with Dr. Buck with Phoenix Children's Pediatrics today. Born and raised in Arizona, Dr. Buck received her undergraduate degree from the University of Arizona and attended medical school at Midwestern. She then went back east to complete her pediatric training, and she returned to the desert for warmer weather. Dr. Buck, thanks so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure. Very excited to be here.
Well, today's topic is picky eaters. And my guess is every mom can relate to this. And if you can't, it just hasn't happened yet. So we'll just jump right into the questions. How is the best way to approach mealtime when you do have a picky toddler?
So important that everyone kind of sits down at the table and it's a family affair. It doesn't need to be a family affair for 2 hours at a restaurant or anything like that, but at least sitting down for 20 to 30 minutes with the family and everybody has the same sort of items on their food, maybe a little bit of a variety here and there, but it's something that everyone kind of does together. And that also provides time for people to in the family to catch up with each other and to enjoy each other's company and have that quality like bonding time every night. And I know some parents are super busy with kiddos who are doing all different types of activities. And so maybe it's not an every night thing, but just trying to sort of carve out a couple of nights during the week that everybody sorts of sits down and kind of enjoys that time together. And it's something that the kiddos are able to do and can sit for 15 to 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the age.
That's such great advice. Mine are, my oldest now is 22 and my youngest is 5. And family dinner time was something that I was really stubborn about. And of course, there were times when if they were in a certain sport or, for whatever reason, we couldn't all do it together. We tried to whenever we could. And I still notice the kiddos will look over at their big brother and big sister's plate or look at our plate and they will eat just because one of us is eating. And
Exactly.
that dynamic is always fascinating to me. There's more to it than the flavor.
Kiddos are taking a lot at the table and they pay a lot of attention when you don't really realize what they're kind of paying attention to. They're sneaky like that.
True. It is so true. So what happens if my toddler refuses to sit down during the meal?
So that's a hard one, and you have to try your best to try and get it, at least try and set maybe a minimal amount of time to sit down with everyone and say that, oh, look, and mommy and daddy are sitting and the siblings are sitting, etc., and trying your best. But at the end of the day, you can't make food time a battle. If it's a battle and you're going to force them to eat something or force them to sit for an exorbitant amount of time, it's not going to be fun, and it's just going to continue to be a battle. So doing your best. And some days, if they're not going to sit at the table, then they need to do something else that's not watching the TV, something else that's not a reward, essentially. So if they love to play their video games or love to play on the iPad and everyone's sitting down at the table, you have to make sure that either if they're not going to sit at the table, that they're not also going to get the reward for not sitting at the table, such as the iPad. But you definitely trying not to make it a battle. So maybe we don't do it now, maybe we do it in a half hour, we sit at the table. Also important to give your toddlers a heads up before it's mealtime. So say dinner's at 6 o'clock and they're outside playing in the backyard, giving them 15 minutes until dinner time, until we're going to come in and sit down at the table, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, etc. So they have some sort of a conception of what time is, but giving them a heads up and telling them what to expect can also go a really long way.
I had somebody tell me once, that just like you don't like to be interrupted when you're in the middle of something, well, they don't either. I mean, they might just be playing to you, but to them, it's an interruption. And so that's great advice to give them that warning, like, okay, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, and so that they're not interrupted. And I had one kiddo that he stood the entire, there was 1 year, I think he was about 4. And he would stand, he would not sit. He would at least be at the table and stand. And at the time I felt like, oh my gosh, this is never going to end. Is he ever going to learn? And of course, a couple weeks went by and that was a phase and it passed. But I can remember those moments with a toddler when I was like, are they ever gonna sit down and be a normal, have
They
a normal
will.
meal?
To give them some time. But standing at the table, if that's what they want to do, but they want to be part of the group and eat, fine by me. You can't win every battle. And so at least they're at the table.
That's what I kept thinking. I was like, at least they're here. We're good to go. And you know what? It was a phase. But you're right, being consistent with that. Okay, it's meal time and we're gonna be together and be a family. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Trying to make
good.
it fun also. And so like making like designs on your plate with the eggs or making a rainbow with the I don't know, whatever you're
Yes.
doing certain sort of designs and things on the plate makes them excited to come to the dinner table and to see kind of what mom did or what dad did. And so trying to come up with alternative ways of serving some of the things that you would normally serve can also be sort of helpful.
That's good. It's so true. Even just making a smiley face with the ketchup, for some reason, they love that. And
So
they're like,
exciting.
they
So
do. They're like, can I have a heart this
exciting.
time? Sure, you can have whatever shape you want. I don't care.
Exactly. It's a little
Um,
thing.
it is so the little things. How can I make fruits or vegetables more appetizing for a picky eater?
So again, like I said, trying not to make it a battle. So if you put broccoli on the table and they are not interested in broccoli, encouraging them to have one bite and then moving on is important. And then making sure that when you are serving a 3-course meal or whatever, or having a plate at the table, making sure that there's at least one item on their plate that for sure that they will eat. Therefore, it's not as intimidating when you've got 5 things on the table on the plate, and you're like, the kiddo has never eaten any of them, doesn't like any of them, and so making sure there's at least one item on the plate that they definitely will eat that 100%, and then trying little bits of other things. And kiddos with toddlers specifically, so your year-olds, your 18 months old, your 2-year-olds, it takes them about 10 to 15 times of trying the exact same food before they really can tell you, you know what, mom, I really don't like this. And
Wow,
so,
15 times.
yeah, so
That's
just being
amazing.
consistent and keep trying is really, so try again is one of like the mottos I tend to use in my office when we've got kiddos who are just so stubborn about eating fruits and veggies. And so trying it again and trying different consistencies also. So if you think about cauliflower, there's so many ways that you can cook cauliflower. You can make a cauliflower pizza. You can make a cauliflower soup. You can put it in the oven and bake it. You can steam it. You can have it raw. So trying all the different types of ways to cook some of the veggies. For example, I hated Brussels sprouts. I thought Brussels sprouts
Yeah.
were the worst thing ever. And I put them in the oven and bake them for like 425 degrees with some salt, pepper, and olive oil, and they're delicious.
Yes,
I love
I
them now.
totally, that was exactly my experience with Brussels sprouts. I was like, I had no idea they could be this good.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
just trying to think outside the box and even like putting in Google, if you really want your kiddo to eat zucchini, putting in alternative zucchini recipes in Google and seeing what kinds of ways are out there that you can cook those items. Sometimes the kids will not even know that it's a zucchini, and they like it. So just trying to think kind of outside the box.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Um, when can a toddler, well, I guess we covered this. When can a toddler really decide that they don't like a certain food? So that 15 time, have
Yeah,
them try it over and
10 to
over.
15 times. They don't really know, and it's a different consistency. It's something they've never had before. Just trying to keep trying. Even babies who are starting new foods at 6 months, 9 months, trying to get all the fruits and veggies in as much as possible when they're that young is also super important because they've tried
Oh,
it before. And then
right,
as you get older, it'll be a different consistency because it won't be a puree, but at least it might have some of the similar taste to it.
right.
And so starting early also is a really, really big key thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Um, okay, what if my child decides they no longer want to drink milk?
That's okay with me as long as you're having
Okay.
other sorts of dairy. And so some kiddos never drink milk. They go from breastfeeding and they have no interest in whole milk when they turn a year old. And that's okay with me as long as you're getting dairy and calcium and vitamin D from other sources. So if they're a big broccoli fan and they love their yogurt and they love their quesadillas, I'm okay with that kind of thing because they're getting their dairy and their calcium and their vitamin D from someplace else.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today, but thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about our picky eaters and what to do to help in that situation.
Of course. Thank you
So,
for having me.
oh, thank you. So you guys, Dr. Buck is a new provider with Phoenix Children's Pediatrics in Paradise Valley, and she is accepting new patients. So for all the Phoenix Children's Pediatrics locations, you can go to phoenixchildrenspediatrics.org, and we will definitely publish a recap of this on our website and include the link so you can go schedule your appointment with her. Thank you, Dr. Buck.
Thank you.